Sir Benji na lang, gano'n na lang. Oh, Sir Benji na
Sir
lang.
Ben. Okay po, Sir
Sige
Benji.
po. Ngayong araw kasama natin ang kasalukuyang alkalde ng Baguio City, si Mayor Benjamin Magalong or Sir Benji. Maraming salamat po sa pagtanggap niyo sa imbitasyon namin. Kamusta nga po pala sa Panagbanga?
Okay. Good morning, Gwen. Good morning, Russell. Good morning sa ating mga viewers at mga estudyante ng Dasal. De La Salle, Dasmariñas. Yung, alam mo, ang pronunciation nun is Panagbanga, Russell.
Panagbanga.
Panagbanga. Hindi siya panagbenga, kundi panagbanga.
Mm.
Panagbanga means, it's the way they pronounce it. It means blooming, blooming of the flowers.
Mm.
So we had the last day yesterday, closing ceremony. We had a grand, series of event for 1 month. At yung highlights nito was the other weekend. Ito yung street parade at yung float parade at napakaraming umakyat para manood. And at the same time, may mga foreigners din kaming mga bisita na galing from the United States. And I was listening to them after the night during dinner, kasi farewell dinner nila. And they were discussing among themselves yung nakita nila doon sa float parade. At
Mm.
pinag-uusapan nga nila, how do you compare our float parade in San Antonio, Texas, and the one in Baguio? Alam mo, San Antonio, Texas is the fastest growing city now in the United States. Ano? So sabi ng isang Amerikano, sabi niya, it's incomparable. Sabi niya, it's just comparing night and day. Their 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 products here, their floats here have exceeded beyond our expectation. Sabi niya, far better quality than what we have in San Antonio, Texas. And we got near the floats. We look at the floats and all the flowers were genuine. Sabi niya, walang plastic. Sabi niya. Kaya talagang sabi niya, hats off sila, hats off sila.
Mm.
Congratulations
We're-
po.
Yes, congrats for a successful festival. And I think we're also equally proud that Baguio City has held, this festival for so long. But I think let's go na dun sa gusto nating talakayin for today, no? Kasi ayun nga, malapit na yung midterm elections, and I'm pretty sure you're very much involved in that as well. Ayun, malapit na yung election kung saan boboto ang mga botante pagdating sa mga iba-ibang level ng gobyerno. And there are a lot of conversation pagdating sa cases of, well, I don't know if technically pandaraya yung mismong label, but there are cases of vote buying, of things like that. So we want to gain your insight of that because nakikita natin na you're very outspoken when it comes to these kinds of topics. And we know na you have served in law enforcement for many years, di ba po? You worked as a police officer for around 30 plus years na. So we want to know kung during that time na you were in law enforcement, have you had any kumbaga parang first-hand experience pagdating sa pag-handle ng mga gantong kaso?
Well, alam mo, Gwen, I was the regional director. No? I was the regional director of the Cordillera from 2011 to 2013. At siguro isa sa mga lugar na talagang very critical every time we have this election is Abra. They call it the murder capital of the Philippines. And the order then of the Chief Justice and at the same time of the President, no less than the President, I was the regional director from 2011 to 2013, and the marching order then of no less than the President, the SILG, and the Chief Justice is to make sure that we'll have a peaceful election in Abra. No? So that was my mission. At isa sa mga nakita ko talaga yung the depth, the level of vote buying in Abra. Alam mo, during my time, uh, 2013, I was able to learn that ang vote the day before the election, per vote, binibilihan ng 8,000 pesos. 8,000 pesos. Alam mo, 8,000 pesos, pero before the elections, several days or several weeks before the election, ang bawat pamilya ang binibigyan. Natin mga 15,000, 12,000 per family ang binibigyan. Depende yan sa kung may clan siya, kung meron siyang extended family, conforme yan. Ano? Ganon kalaki ang... Pero alam mo ngayon, in 2016, when I was sent back, the day before the election, yung presidential election noong 2016, or it was not a presidential election ba yun, 2016? Hindi, it was a midterm election. When I got back, kasi nga natataranta sila, alam mo ba, per individual was already at 12,000 pesos the, the day before the election. Ganon kagrabe. If it is happening here in the Cordillera, it's also happening elsewhere. Kasi we compare each notes we compare it other notes And talagang amazing how it's evolving.
Mhm.
And it's structural, it's systemic, it's deliberate, it's sustained. No? And if you look at the background of these provinces, karamihan ng matataas ang vote buying, these are poverty-stricken provinces or localities. So in short, talagang matindi. And I filed cases against several politicians when I was the regional director. But unfortunately, it never prospered. The cases never prospered. At as of the other day, tinanong ko yung isang COMELEC official because we were then having our briefing on the COMELEC election violations, at do's and don'ts. At tinanong nga namin yan, was there a time na nagkaroon ng conviction? No conviction at all. In the history of the Philippines, nobody was convicted for vote buying. Nakakalungkot talaga. Ganun ang sistema natin dito sa Pilipinas.
And na-mention niyo po, no, Sir Benji, yung na nag-e-evolve siya. So can you elaborate on that na during that time na nasa law enforcement ka and now that you are, as incumbent mayor of Baguio City, have you noticed any considerable changes pagdating sa mga gantong klaseng taktika election? Nagbago ba siya? Lumala ba? Ganun?
Well, lumalala. Lumalala. At ang masama pa nito, dati-rati yung mga politiko, yung mga corrupt na politiko, ulitin ko, yung mga corrupt na politiko, talagang dati-rati yung pinambabayad nila, pinambibili nila, rather. Ito yung mga ninakaw nila. Ninakaw nila dahil sila yung may porsyento, sila pa yung contractor, sila pa yung supplier. No? Ganun ang sistema Di ba? Ganun ang sistema na ngayon. Dati-rati, galing yan sa mga ninakaw nila. Pero ngayon, iba na. Nag-evolve na, mas malaki na, mas mataas na. Kaya lang, itong binabayad nila, ito yung mga AKAP, ito yung mga AIX na nakukuha nila doon sa kay speaker. No? Nakakalungkot isipin na nakukuha nila doon sa kanilang mga amo sa Kongreso. At kung titingnan mo itong mga pinapamigay nila, alam mo walang guidance, walang guidelines rather. Katulad yung AKAP last year, walang guidelines. Kung sino-sino na lang. Nagulat nga ako na nung tinanong ko nga yung ating secretary, why is it that, the SWD is not sharing with us their list? Why are they not being transparent when in fact you're using government money, using uh, taxpayers' money, and you're not transparent about it? Ang sinabi sa akin is, it's a violation daw ng Privacy Act. How can there be a violation of the Privacy Act? Di ba? Na ang gamit naman naman nun is para malaman namin sa local government na hindi magkaroon ng redundant. Nakahingi na yan sa DSWD, nakahingi na yan doon sa congressman, bibigyan o hihingi uli sa amin, tinadoble-doble na. Saan yung equitable distribution? It's a question of equitable distribution Kaya lang wala, they stick to that, they stuck to that, reasoning na violation done ng Privacy Act, which I don't really agree. Which I don't agree. Besides, why is it that we're sharing it? Why is it that the city is very transparent with its records kung sino nabibigyan? It's because those na binibigyan ng local government talagang qualified because we allow and we leave it to our city social welfare to to give us the list. Kasi meron silang targeting, ano ba yung tawag niyon? Targeting list. Ito yung merong ginagawang study ang City Social Welfare, DSWD, na talaga Ini-interview nila talaga yung sino yung mga qualified to receive all this as financial assistance, ano. Pero sa AKAP, wala talaga. Kung sinong nasa listahan. In fact, ang kwan ang ano to, yung guidance is, yung discrete na guidance is, kung listahan ni congressman o ni listahan ni senator, huwag na kayo magtanong, silent na lang kayo. Yun ang inuutos sa mga DSWD. Kaya pati DSWD, nalulungkot. Kaya lang wala silang magawa kasi pwede silang ipitin sa kanilang budget pagdating sa budget hearing. So napepersa sila. So these are the things that are happening. So ngayon, intact pa yung mga ninakaw ng mga karamihan ng mga mambabatas. No? Intact pa yan sa bulsa nila kasi ang binibigay pa lang nila doon sa mga tao ngayon, sa mga sarili nilang supporter are yung AKAP funds, AIC funds, yung mga TUPAD funds pa lang na nakuha nila. Kaya matindi, matindi. In fact, napansin nyo siguro na basta pumayag ka, katulad dito, itong pirmahan sa impeachment, ilan dyan ang kaya pumirma dahil sa AKAP funds at sa mga AIC funds na pinmesa sa kanila. Diba? Millions and millions. Pati yung mga pag-iikot, di ba? Pag-iikot ni speaker. Bawat congressman kung sumama sa kanya sa sortie, gets 777, 7 million na AKAP, 7 million na MAIP, 7 million na tupad. So that's 21 million. Paano kung 100 ang sumama sa iyo? So 21 million times 100. Can you just imagine, no? That's 2 point something, 2.1 billion pesos. How can they just simply disperse the funds? Diba? That's taxpayers' fund. Hindi lang yon. Kung ikaw ang nag-sponsor ng sortie, kunyari, inimbita mo yung speaker at yung mga congressman sa lugar mo, sa ang kwan yan is you get 30, 30, 30. Mas mataas pa yung tatanggapin mo kasi ikaw yung sponsor, yung host, ikaw yung host. So get 30 million AIX or AKAP, 30 million MAIP, 30 million TUPAD. Just amazing. Tapos ito pinapamigay nila. And they would insinuate sa mga tao na galing ito sa akin. Many of them do not even say taxpayers' money. May utang na. No, no. Kumbaga, sasabihin nila, paparamdam nila na ito galing sa akin to. Yung iba pa, papipirmahin sa blanco. Yung unang page, may nakasulat. Succeeding pages, 2 pages, walang kwan. Blank yung mga kwan, blank yung naka-proforma siya pero blanco yung mga kwan, yung mga essential na information. So, ano ibig sabihin nun? Pagkakakitaan na naman nila. Kaya ang dami, gumagaling nga sila sa kwan sa mga iba't ibang mga schemes. Kaya talagang nakakalungkot talaga kung anong nangyayari sa Pilipinas.
Ayun nga po, ang grabe nga po talaga yung lala ng issue ngayon. Pero Sir Benji, kayo po ay running for re-election, di ba, sa mayor? So, sa tingin nyo, ano yung disadvantage? Sa tingin nyo po ba disadvantage tong mga nangyayaring ito sa mga kandidato katulad nyo? And ikalawa po ba ay may mga nagawa na po bang aksyon yung mga ibang kandidato laban sa mga taong ito na ginagamit di umano yung ayuda para mangampanya?
Okay. Unang-una, Russell, yung first question mo, no? Alam mo, ang laki ng disadvantage, especially kung yung locality sanay sa vote buying. Na tuwing election, talagang yan ang hinihintay ng mga tao. Talo ka doon. Talong-talo ka doon. Lalo-lalo na kung yung local official, talagang good governance. Sweldo lang talaga. Nakatulad ng nandito nangyayari dito sa Baguio, sweldo lang kami. I can easily make 400 million in just 3 years. But is it the right thing to do? Diba? Magpoporsyento rin ako. No? Bawat supply, bawat project, porsyento, pati mga investors, hihingihan ko, pati dyan sa basura na yan, pagkakakitaan ko, 27%. Kunyari, ang total budget sa basura is 200 million, I get 27%, pa-advance ko na agad yung 10%. Yan mga sistema na nangyayari ngayon sa local government. No? Iba pa yung ginagawa rin ng mga mambabatas. No? Mas matindi ba yon? Yung mga pork barrel nila. Pin mo, legislation sila. Yan ang trabaho nila, legislation. Pero pagdating sa pera, pagkakakitaan, nandun din sila. AKAP, AIX, nandyan na sila lahat. Pati pork barrel nila sa mga infrastructure projects, sa DOH, sa DepEd, nandyan sila lahat. Sa mga, lalo-lalo na dyan sa education. Naku, yan, talagang parang palalabasin pa nila ng utang na loob nyo sa amin. Pero sa totoo lang, may porsyento sila. Sila pa yung contractor, sila pa yung supplier. Kaya nangyayari, substandard pa. So balikan natin yung question mo, Russell. Ano? Talagang malaking disadvantage sa amin. Kasi kung sinanay mo ang tao na mananalo ka dahil nabibigyan mo sila, so yan na yung pag-iisip ng tao, yan na yung kaisipan nila, yun na yung mindset, talo ka. Pero we're just lucky in the city of Baguio. That Baguio is one of the very, I would say this, one of the very, 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 just to emphasize yung maraming very few places in the entire country where boat buying never succeeded. Ang mga trapo, tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang pagbibili. Ano? Pero ah, ako na nagsasabi sa inyo, tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang pagbibili pero hindi kasiguraduhan na ibebenta, bibili. Kaya iboboto ka rito sa Baguio. Pero ilan na lang kami na ganyan. Ilan na lang kaming ganyan.
Ask ko lang, Sir Benji, ano po yung basis nito na you're saying na hindi siya successful sa Baguio?
Well, alam mo, lagi nila sinasabi na, hindi, educational center kasi ang syudad ng Baguio. Ah, yun ang sinasabi nila. Pero ako mismo, I don't really believe that that is only the reason. Kasi kung titingnan mo sa Manila, educational center din naman. Sa Cebu, educational center din naman. Sa ibang lugar, educational center din naman. No? Pero why is it na matindi pa rin ang vote buying doon? Diba? Siguro, one of the reasons, aside from yung educational center dito is, another is yung kwan. Ang poverty rate namin kasi rito is 1.7%. So mataas ang middle class dito. And of course, yung B and E, A rather, mataas. Mataas ang population. In fact, outside of Metro Manila, sinasabi nga nila na Baguio City is the richest in terms of per capita. In fact, sa amin nga rito is 440,000, $440 no? per capita sa amin. $440 ba yung peso? 440,000 pala. 440,000 pesos per capita per year. Yun ang kwan namin dito, GDP. For the national GDP, it's about 173 yata yun. Kaya
So,
mataas talaga kami dito. Mataas. Isa yan. And another is, Baguio has the highest number of churches, both Protestant and Catholic. Ano. Isa sa pinakamarami. And alam mo naman sa mga churches, they always preach about righteous leadership, ethical leadership. I believe we have about 400 plus churches here. Kaya yan ang malaki na itutulong dito sa addressing itong vote buying and itong mga election anomalies in the city of Baguio.
Uy, maganda pong research yan. Yung, kung, para malaman talaga natin kung ano yung dahilan kung bakit hindi nag-work yung vote buying sa Baguio City. Tignan natin kung kaya nating i-research yan.
You know, Russell, just to qualify, there can always be a first time. You'll never know. There can always be a first time. I hope it won't happen in the city of Baguio because I know of one particular province na talagang nabili sila. So I hope hindi mangyari dito sa Baguio. Sana. Napakatindi ngayon. And they're well funded by people upstairs. Ito nga yung malaki na yung problema. I remember, just to give you an idea, kung gaano katindi, I remember a mayor in Nueva Ecija. Sabi niya, Mayor Benji, sabi niya, alam mo, yung kalabang ko, gumastos ng 800 million. Ako gumastos lang ako ng 600 million. So tinanong ko siya, ilan ba ang botante mo? Well, sabi niya, 145,000 ang botante ko. Ganun ba? Laki pala ng ginastos mo. Bakit ikaw? Ilan ang ginastos mo? Sabi ko, ito yung audit report ko, 6.7 million. Sabi niya, ilan ba botante mo? 170 plus thousand ang botante ko. So, nakuha siya, taken aback siya, no? Hindi na siya nagsalita after that. Pero can you just imagine, comparing 145 at 600 million gagastusin mo. Habang ako 6.7 million. Tapos, mas malaki pa yung botante ko.
Ayun nga po, Sir Benji, nabanggit nyo nga po yung mga infrastructure. Kasi nga po, di ba dati, ang ginagamit talaga na sa corruption is yung mga infrastructure projects. Pero dahil nga pinagbawal na ng COMELEC, na mag-ongoing yung mga infrastructure projects 6 months before the election. Do you think, sir, na dapat gawin na rin natin to sa pamimigay ng ayuda? May mga action na po bang ginagawa yung mga iba't ibang grupo para ipagbawal itong pamimigay ng ayuda 6 months before the election period?
Well, ako, I approve of it. Ano? I approve of it. Gusto ko nga ganun mangyari dapat eh. Dapat 6 months talaga eh. At besides, dapat dapat instead na ayuda ibibigay, livelihood sana. Ano? Turuan nating mabuhay ang tao. Hindi yung turuan nating maging beggar ang tao. Yung kwan naman, yung infrastructure na sinasabi na 6 months before or during the election period, hindi ka na pwedeng mag-launch ng mga project mo. Well, alam mo yan, hindi nakakatulong yan sa vote buying eh. Alam mo bakit? Nakaipon na sila previous months before the election ban. Kwan na yan eh. Busog na yung kanilang mga bulsa. Nakaipon na sila o na-advance na nga nila eh. In fact, na-advance na nga nila eh. Ganun na sistema rito. Alam mo ba na mayroon pang sistema na just to access yung project list ng isang politiko, magbabayad ka na kagad ng 2 million without any reimbursement. Ganun katindi. Ganun nakatindi ang sistema. Talagang enterprising na talaga eh. Economic enterprise. Pati yung listahan pa lang ng project mo, i-access lang ng isang kontraktor, bayad ka ng 2 million. Whether you win or not, hindi na i-reimburse sa iyo, hindi na ibabalik sa iyo. Ganun na katindi ang sistema sa Baguio, ganun nakakorap, ganun nakaitim, ganun kadumi. Basically, talagang unethical na talaga eh. Immoral na. Kaya kami rito, maski na ganun ang kwan namin, ang sistema namin, ganun ang sitwasyon namin dito na hirap na hirap kami sa finances namin. If you look at Baguio, wala pa nga kaming poster. Kasi nagpapalagay pa lang kami ng poster, mabuti may nakita kaming mag-sponsor ng poster. The good news is hindi kami naglalagay ng poster. Nahiya rin yung mga kalaban na maglagay ng poster. Kaya ang linis-linis ng Baguio, umakyat kayo sa Baguio. Wala kayong makikita mga posters ng mga local candidates. Ano? But nonetheless, as I was saying, this is now a fight between good and evil. And kami naman, we're confident na since we're fighting corruption, we are promoting transparency, accountability, citizens' participation, rule of law, respect for human rights. I have no doubt that we're on the good side, or we are on the side of the good, fighting evil.
Oh, you mentioned, sir, na parang, in your opinion nga, hindi effective yung gantong klaseng, 6 months before ibaban yung pagpapagawa ng infrastructure. So, do you personally, may nakikita ka bang paraan para makombat tong mga klaseng pandaraya, especially because you're running eh. So, for sure, there's some points na maybe disadvantaged ka when it comes to this. So, may nakikita ka bang ibang paraan na pwede ikaw personally or maybe COMELEC or other groups can implement to combat these kinds of anomalies?
Well, alam mo, taasan na lang ang kwan siguro, ang penalty ng vote buying. And at the same time, talagang kailangan magigpit talaga yung COMELEC. Kailangan talagang even pagkatapos ng election, hindi yung tapos na election anyway, nanalo naman na siya, wag na tayong mag-file ng kaso. Kaya okay na to, kwan na lang natin. Wag na lang tayong magpursige ng kaso. Ganun kasi nangyayari lagi. Ano? Kailangan talaga ipursige yung kaso. At sana mas mataas pa yung mas mataas pa yung penalty. Right now, ang baba-baba ng penalty ng vote buying. Kung titignan nyo, ah, ano ba yung ngayon? Ano ba yung, let me check kung ano yung vote buying na kwan. Kaya kung may panukala na dapat capital punishment yan, dapat ganun eh. Alam mo bakit dapat capital punishment yan? You know why? Kasi yung implications niyan eh. And at the same time, yung mga preceding na mga circumstances before the vote buying, nagnakaw yan na malalaking halaga. Pangalawa, yung political dynasty, they would like to propagate their dynasty. Pangatlo, tinan mo yung nangyayari sa mga projects, substandard projects. And every time na may nagko-collapse dyan na bridge, katulad yung nangyari sa Isabela, kawawa ang tao. Yeah, people are suffering. At the same time, it will also drive the cost of, products, basic products. Ano to, yung inflation. It will prompt inflation. So nakita mo yung mga preceding events at yung consequences nito eh. Kaya dapat talagang capital punishment yung vote buying na yan eh. Minsan talaga nakakapanggigigil. Alam mo, dito ko lang nalaman talaga na ngayon na nasa politics ako, nalaman ko lang na siguro mga 95% ng mga politiko natin dito kaya tumatakbo. It's not about public service. It's about the money. It's about the power. Yun lang talaga nakakita ko eh.
So, with that said, Sir Benji, gusto ko lang din i-shift yung conversation kasi yun nga, it looks like you are promoting transparency and good governance. Yun talaga yung parang pinaglalaban nyo, no? So, I'm very curious if you can also tell us here kung, especially now na you're running for re-election, ano yung mga plans mo for Baguio City in that case? Especially because we all know na Baguio City is one of the most parang yung ang dami lagi ng tao dito. So, can you tell us more about that if you can dish out your platforms?
Well, tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung promotion namin ng good governance. Uh, all the principles of good governance. We're talking here about efficiency, effectiveness, itong rule of law, respect for human rights, accountability, transparency, citizens' participation, and itong tinatawag nating authentic leadership. Another is you won't follow anyone if you know that he's corrupt, or he has some flaws. Or kaya iba yung sinasabi niya sa iba yung ginagawa niya. He does not walk his talk. So meaning, everything, yung good governance should start from me. And the only way I will be able to compel my subordinates to follow me is being the good example. It's all about leadership by example. Isa rin yan. No? Another is yung namin. We were recently accepted sa OGP. It's a global network of local chief executive or local government units who believes in the principles of transparency, accountability, and strong citizens' participation. Ang sabi nga nila, there's a study, actually, a scientific study that showed that local governments who are very strong in this aspect, itong tatlo na binanggit ko kanina, are more progressive. There's more are more progressive in terms of growth and development. So in the entire world, there are about 150 plus only, and 77 countries who are members of that OGP network, global network. In the Philippines, out of the 1,600 local government units, 600 plus, 1,600 plus, only 4 local government units are actually members of that OGP.
Sir Benji, pahabol ko lang po tong tanong na to. Last week, balita kahit sa Manila or sa Cavite na nagkaroon daw po ng vote buying incident allegedly dyan sa Baguio City. Ano po yung ginagawa ng LGU ng Baguio City para dito sa kaso na to?
Well, alam mo, all you can do is awareness eh. Wala kaming magagawa talaga kasi napakayaman nila eh. Tapos well-funded pa sila. Basta ang intention talaga nila is patumbahin talaga ako rito. Yun ang intention nila eh. Kaya kita mo, hire sila ng taxi drivers, babayaran nila ng 600 pesos para pagsakay ng pasahero, bigla nilang engage yung pasahero sa election. Tapos habang dumadaan sa ibang lugar, yan, kay Magalong yan, kay Magalong yan, kay Magalong yan. Puro ganun ang ginagawa. No? Hindi lang yan. No? Pati senior citizen, may mga binibigyan na rin sila para ikalat lang doon sa mga fellow citizens nila. Ay, si Magalong, napakakurap pala niyan. Hindi pa sila nagsawa, pati mga bata. Pati mga bata, tinuturuan nila mag-spread ng fake news. Saan ka nakakita nga? Pati morality talagang The cruelty of humanity, nandyan na lahat. So that they can only attain yung kanilang objective na dapat tanggalin yan si Magalong dahil tinik yan sa atin. Lumalaban niya dahil sa mga corruption, nilalaban niya yung corruption, tayo tuloy yan. Parang ganun yan eh. Kaya dapat mawala yan eh. So pati threats, yan. Siyempre, pati rin kami, yung threats, nararamdaman ko. So talagang alerto ako ngayon. And seldom do I allow my wife, my members of my family to ride with me kasi kung may mangyari sa akin, ganun din yung masaktan din yung family ko. So I have to be very careful as well. And security conscious. Napakahirap talaga lumaban sa corruption. But I'm not going to abandon the crusade. I'm going to stay on course, keep it up, because ang at stake dito is the future of our young people, the future of our country, and I'm fighting for my family, for our families, for our brothers and sisters, for our children, of course, for our home and for our country, for my city as well.
Sir Benji, bago po natin tapusin tong program na to, meron po ba kayong mensahe sa mga botante? Lalo na po sa sa mga, siyempre sa mga taga Baguio City, sa amin din sa mga national, sa buong Pilipinas, and sa Lasallian community, kasi marami sa amin, mga first-time voters. So ano po yung magiging mensahe nyo para sa amin?
Yeah, very good. Very good. Probably, okay lang ba na ang mensahe ko is addressed toward our young people, particularly our Lasallians.
Okay po.
Oh, tama ba yung term ko? Lasallians? Tama
Opo,
ba yan?
tama po.
Yeah, okay, sige. It's all about the choice that we make every day. And we're faced with simple choices and complex choices. During these coming elections, the choice that we have to make are complex choices. The implications of this will happen probably 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. Yung mga simple choices, pan lang yan eh. Okay lang yan eh. Pwede mong value lang yan eh. Which comprises about 99 point something percent of our choices that we make every day. But the 0.00 something percent are actually the complex choices. And the complex choices that we make will make or unmake us. It will define our character. It will define the future of our young generation. So my appeal to you is during this coming election, exercise the choice by making the right choice. By making the right choice. Unang-una, what are the parameters in making the right choices? One is you have the laws, you have the ordinances, your policies, you have rules and regulations. Meron din tayong code of conduct and ethical standards. You can always refer to that. And just like the justices or the judges, they always ask themselves, is this for the greater good, the common good? If you still doubt yung apat na yan, then drill down on your spiritual foundation and ask yourself, is this aligned with the teaching of God, or the teaching of Jesus Christ? And you can never go wrong in determining what is right and choosing what is right. So please, especially during these coming elections, to our young people, the choices that you're going to make will determine your future. Make
Thank
the
you
right
so
choice.
much, Sir Benji. I think that's very well said. And I think we won't hold you anymore longer kasi alam ko marami kayong gagawin today. So thank you so much for giving us the time, for talking with us. Sana next time magawa na natin to in person na sa Baguio. Pupunta kayo Baguio.
Gusto
But
ko ni Bag.
hopefully po, no? Thank you so much po for giving us the time and we hope you have a great day today. Thank you po, Sir Benji.
Thank you po, Sir
Bye,
Benji.
Gwen. Bye. Bye, Russell.
Thank you
Thank you.
po.
Maraming salamat. Marami na